Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Krishnendu Ray, teaching in the Department of Ancient Indian History and Culture, University of Calcutta, Calcutta. Today, we are concerned with economic history of India from earliest time to 1707. The module that we are concerned here with today is economy under the Sātavāhanas. Now, the main objectives of this module that I am trying to make you understand are introducing the learner by highlighting the Satavahana kings of the Deccan, because in every case in early India, whenever we try to understand any economic activity, it was managed or operated by, it was conducted by those people under certain political dynasty, certain ages. So, political scenario has to be taken into account in order to understand economic activities, because under their protection some economic activities were performed. So, first of all, we have to get a scenario of the Deccan in which where the Satavahanas ruled. Another part is the development of agriculture, industry, trade and commerce and coinage. When agricultural production becomes surplus, it comes to the channels, through the channels of trade and commerce to others. So, when trade and commerce develops, in order to facilitate those activities, coins are required. Coins are nothing but metallic pieces or certain pieces which guarantee the movement of goods and other exchanges. So, we have taken into account coins also a part of economic activities under the Sātavāhanas. Now, first part, political scenario. What we get? Early India witnessed the emergence of a number of political powers after the end of the Mauryan rule. Mauryan rules, we all know that 325 to 185 BC, Mauryans ruled almost the whole of India except a few areas in the far south. So, this was an umbrella like empire. After their extinct, when they passed away from the political horizon of early India, what happened? This is the period in which we find the Sātavāhanas. So, at the same time, we also should remember that this is the time when certain political powers came from outside and they entered into the political horizon of early India. What those powers were? Bactrian Greeks, Shakos, Kushanos, Shungos, Kannus. Shungos, Kannus not came from outside. Kushanos came from outside. Bactrian Greeks, they came from outside, but there were other powers which were indigenous within India. Those were Cholos, Pandos, Cheros in the south and Shungos, Kannus in the central India and eastern India including area. Now, this was the situation, political situation in which we find the Sātavāhanas to have ruled in the Deccan. The Deccan witnessed the emergence of the Sātavāhanas 1st century BCE to 225 CE, who might have become politically powerful as a particular branch, if acknowledged, of the Andhra in the Deccan. Students, in this connection, we should remember that Sātavāhanas, who they were, their identities, these are controversial. Maybe they came from Andhra, maybe came from outside another part of the country, whatever. That they were Sātavāhanas and they ruled the Deccan, this we should take as it is for the understanding of this topic today. So, let us go to the next part, agriculture. Another occasion in which we try to make you understand that economic activities or economy, for its understanding, we have to take into account three major things: production, consumption and transportation. Now, production related to both agricultural as well as non-agricultural. Agricultural production, therefore, we should also take note of this agricultural part, production part in this case also, that is under the Sātavahanas. So, we have taken into account agriculture. What we get? Plough cultivation was known. The epigraphic records of the Satavahanas referred to the term hollow. Hollow is a word that signifies both land measurement as well as the plough. Essentially, it is related to the land in which cultivation, task of cultivation was carried on. What produced? Wheats, barley, etc. The point of irrigation, one thing it should be kept in mind that agricultural operation becomes successful if it is facilitated by supplying profuse of water, and this may come either by natural way or by way of irrigation. Now, when irrigation is concerned, what kind of information do we get from the records of the Sātavahanas? We get irrigation. We like to propose reference to the word Rahatto Ghadiya Jantra, that is Prakrit text Gaha Sattasai, that was written by Satavahana king Halo. This is Sanskrit rendering. This Sanskrit rendering of the text is Gatha Saptashati, in which we find the word Raha Ghadiya, Rahatta Ghadiya, that is Araghatta, wheels with pots, so that it could be used to lift water from wells, and water from wells, when lifted, it was distributed to the land to facilitate the task of cultivation. So, this is how irrigation is reported in the literary text of the Gatha Saptashati. Now, after this, what we get? The use of water lifting wheels with pots was known, that just now I have told you. We have an epigraphic reference to Odoyantriko Srenna. This is an absolutely important term. We also learned that Odoyantro, that is Udoyantro or Udoyantro, and thus we come to the meaning workers fabricating hydraulic engines for the word Odoyantriko Srenna, that is the people who formed a group and concerned with the use of this water lifting device. Agriculture, crops included wheat, rice, gram, pea, sorghum, barley, lentils, etc. They were the first to issue land grants to institutions. Now, leaving aside the point of agriculture, let us come to industry. What is this? This is also a production, part of production, as I told you. This is non-agricultural production. What we get about this? We get Satavahana's period gave the impression towards the development of several industries: pottery, carpentry, textiles, mining, metallurgy. Pottery, pieces of potteries with ornamental design. Now, why ornamental design? Potteries may be useful in day-to-day life, but perhaps there were people who chose certain designed potteries, as we like today, certain design things, design sarees, design other things. They also chose designed potteries. So, according to the needs of the people of the day, such and such designed potteries were also produced, and there were people who mastered this craft. Those people are no more today, but the things they had used are left with, and these are the things on the basis of which we are trying to build up our ideas about the economic activities of those times, those days. That's why we get ornamental designs, designed potteries. Again, artistic shapes, it is also not for all. artistic shapes, designed potteries, fine polished potteries, all these things, all these potteries were used, certainly not by all people. There were some people who used these, as today also there are some people who are very sophisticated, of sophisticated taste. They use certain very costly things, designed things, etc., etc. These are the things that we know from certain excavated areas: Kondapur, Maski, Amravati, Poithan. Carpentry. Sculptural representations of thrones, chairs, bedsteads, carts, household articles and containers. Let us come to mining and metallurgy. Gold was mined at Maski and Vandarvalli. Traces of mining and casting iron are found at several places of Telangana. Bronze, brass vessels, ornamental lamps, again ornamental lamps. This is also an important point. Lamps may be useful, may be used, but ornamental lamps not for all, but for some. That is, some skilled people, skilled artisans produce such and such ornamental lamps. Figurines discovered at Brahmapuri, Poithan and Amravati. Again I tell you, the archaeological artifacts that we get from these sites may be metal, may be non-metal, may be earthen, whatever. What archaeological goods, artifacts we get, on the basis of these, we try to build up the patterns of activities, particularly economic activities, when they performed. And at the same time, we also get some indications towards the stratification of the society. Society means the people, stratification among the people. Some were skilled, some were more skilled in producing certain other things. This is how the economic activities were conducted by them in those days. Let us, another thing, textiles. Ptolemy, again a non-indigenous author, textile sources, Ptolemy's geography. There he pays attention to testimony to the textile industry. This is a clear testimony of textile industry of the Mysolia region. Arthashastra stated the textiles of Kalinga and Mahisha are very famous guilds. Each of these crafts organized into a shreni, that is guild. They regulated the activities of its members and looked after the welfare. These economic institutions were in charge of production and distribution of commodities. Students, in this connection, we should remember one thing, that the occupational groups who mustered in some non-agricultural products, they formed a particular group, that is shreni. And those who were associated with the production of such and such goods, for example, carpenters or stones or gold, etc., those members were taken into this shreni, and thus this shreni, this organization, looked after the welfare of the members. Not only that, but also the produced goods, their distribution also was looked after by the Sangha. Trade and commerce, its occasion. Now let us see what information do we get. Different categories of merchants such as Bonik, Sethi, Sātavāhana, Vasniko, that is itinerant merchant, caravan leader, who under his care took good number of caravans with many articles of trade from one place to another. That leader was described as Sātavāhana. Vanik, Vanik is a blanket term. It encapsulates not only the peddler or hawker, but also a big merchant. Sethi, a financier, a big merchant. All those were particularly associated with business activities, trading activities, particularly in general economic activities. But certain layers are coming to the surface. Financiers, some were leaders, some took leading part, transporting goods from one place to another, some were itinerant merchant, travelling merchant from one place to another, carrying different goods of useful goods. What then? Terms like Vanij, Sethi, Sātavāhana are also found in inscriptions. Even, for example, in this connection, we should take note of the term inscription. What is inscription? Inscription is also a record, inscribed, that has been inscribed on stone, maybe on copper plate. This is called inscription. This is also a record of the experience of the people of the particular time in which it was written. This is also an important source of our information regarding the economic activities of the people of the Sātavāhana time. So, inscriptions have also been taken into account, and that is why we have mentioned here these terms Monij, Sethi and Satavahanas. All these are figuring in the inscriptions also. The caravan merchant Satavahanas transported either his own goods or those of other goods traders. The Sethi possessed huge amount of wealth according to the Jatakas. Jatakas also an important source of information, 2nd century BC to 2nd century AD. Its date is very subject to question, but about this time these stories, Buddha's birth stories, but in these stories there are many information which may be utilized for understanding economic activities of this period. Next, what we get? Our attention has been drawn to the commerce. The Nabodhana, this is important thing. Pancho Nabodhana, this is another important thing. This is very significant in view of the fact that it means wealth due to having two boats. That is, the people who collected, who earned their wealth by using boats, who used 5 boats and collected wealth, Pancha Nabodhana. This is absolutely significant terms. Dinabodhana, Pancha Nabodhana. That is, those who had 2 boats and those who had 5 boats, there was a difference. Students, this difference to be noted. So, now the question of the procurement of goods. How these goods, whether traded in or from one place to another, whatever. The goods the traders traded in were purchased or obtained in more than one way. Merchants bought the goods from a ship anchored at a port. On another occasion, we have made you understand that port is an important gateway to overseas trade. Port is also an important place where economic activities, particularly unloading and loading activities, merchandise activities are performed. So, port is a place from where many things could be bought. Similarly, they also bought it. Another way to procure goods was by mutual agreement with another. That is, if one person could not buy all goods or the sufficient goods, he could buy it with the help of others. So, that is how mutual agreement was reached and articles of trade were bought. And the third way was to procure goods, was approaching the producer directly. Even today also this is happening. In India, there are many places where we get the financier or big business people go there and contact with direct producer directly in order to collect all the produced goods. This is how these goods also procured. So, as I told you just a few minutes ago, bonic in connection with the term bonic. It may be the hawker or peddler to business magnate. So, let us see what about hawker. H.P. Ray draws our attention to the hawker also during the period under discussion. Hawker who was hawking with different, even today also, different useful things. We also have a reference from the Jataka to the hawker who might have handled goods like pots, etc. for the use of the commoners. Even today we see this. Export. In connection with export trade, we learn from H.P. Ray that export items like silk, iron, food, even today also we find these items to have been exported to different countries, were sent to the Persian Gulf, southern Arabia and Cape Guardafui, and some goods like luxury ones were sent to Alexandria and then to the Roman market. So, this is how we get export trade. And in connection with the foreign trade, our attention has also been drawn to the three main ports. Again, we come to the question of ports. There are many ports, but these ports are very, very important. Even today also we get many important ports, both on the west coast and on the east coast. Similarly, in the past, these three ports were very, very important. Barbaricum in the Indus Delta, Kalyan near Mumbai, and Bharugacho, that is southern Gujarat, Broch. These were the major ports on the west coast. What imports they made from other countries? The import items included gold and silver coins, vessels of silver, Roman bottle made of glass and terracotta, lamps from the site of Ter, that is Tagarnagaru of the Deccan, a wine jug, a candlestick, base, a mirror case, Roman metal objects of bronze, copper, etc. from the Brahmapuri site. That is, these goods were imported from different countries. Now, as I told you earlier, that in order to facilitate trading exchanges, we exchange coins. We use coins. Coins metallic in different denominations, big or small denominations. Small denominations, when you use small denomination coins, we promote small scale exchanges. Similarly, Sātavāhanas, during the days of the Sātavāhanas also we find the use of coins. We have Roman coins from the districts of Kuddapa, Guntur, Krishna region. A hoard of 8 silver punchmark coins and 39 Roman coins have also been found from the Karimnagar district. Remember one thing, Roman coins we are getting. Why? Because Romans, they imported goods from here. In exchange, they paid the prices of those goods in their coins, and that's why we get Roman coins. So, coins were used in order to facilitate trading exchanges. This is how we learn about coinages. What we get? We know that the Satavahanas ruler Gautamiputra Shatakarni restruck the Khatrapa silver coins and then circulated the coins. That is, these coins have been found from Jogalthembi. That is, Gautamiputra is well known to have defeated Khatrapa ruler Nahapanu, and the coins they had used were restruck by Gautamiputra Shatakarni in order to facilitate the trading exchanges during the time of Gautamiputra Shatakarni. In other words, Gautamiputra Shatakarni reused those coins with his symbols, his authentication, so that the people of those days, particularly of his reign period, could use those coins in their day-to-day exchanges. So, this is supported by the coin hoard from Jugalthembi in Nasik in Maharashtra. Our attention has been drawn to a good number of copper cast coins from Nivasa and Bhokardan. We learned these coins were of the Sātavahanas. That is, during the days of the Sātavahanas, these coins were of use. Now, what metals they were using in producing their coins? Lead, copper and protein. Protein is an alloy of tin, zinc, copper and lead. The Satavahana coins mostly bear the elephant symbol on the obverse, the tree motif and Ujjain symbols are also found on the reverse, and accordingly they are of two group of coins. Today also we see our coins also bearing certain symbols, Ashokan symbol and other symbols, parliament symbols. These are nothing but the proof of official guarantee. Officially, these symbols are bearing the guarantee of the king. Even today also we find the authority, the government to promise this note or coins for its use in day-to-day exchanges. Similarly, during the days of the Satavahanas also, the authority provided authentication for its use in day-to-day exchanges, and that's why these were their symbols: tree symbol, Ujjain symbol with railing, tree with railing, and elephant symbol. These were the symbols of the Satavahana coins. Now we have lion type Satavahana coins, again a symbol of authentication, official authentication. Coins from Gujarat and Maharashtra, the Krishna and Godavari districts. In different areas, Satavahanas used coins with different symbols so that they could facilitate the economic exchanges. Now, what we get during the Satavahana period? In a nutshell, in summary, we can tell you that agricultural production, non-agricultural production were supervised mainly by the private enterprises. Now, we have come to the end of this lecture today. What we get regarding the economic activities during the people during the days of the Satavahanas. Actually, the major point that we get is the entry of individual private enterprise. There was scope for individuals to enter into economic activities either in agricultural production or in industrial production. Even in trade and commerce also we get information regarding people who were engaged in conducting trade and commerce. Profuse scope for individuals to be engaged in economic activities, not like the state control as we find in the case of the Mauryans just before their time. This is number one. Number two is this: there was scope and there was difference in points of skills in producing artisanal or other products. So, that way society witnessed certain differences, certain stratification among the people. Some were skilled, some were more skilled. This is how the society witnessed different categories of people with different degrees of skills, agricultural, non-agricultural or others. This is how we get the impression about the changes in the economic activities that we get during the days of the Sātavāhanas. Thank you.